Euromaxx highlights. In today's show, Pergamon Panorama. Artist Yadegar Asisi hopes to transport you back to ancient Greece. Raw meal. Top Berlin eateries are turning to uncooked vegetables and fruit. On the road, British singer James Blunt passes through Germany on a world tour. Euromaxx highlights. And here's your host, Robin Merrill.
Hello from the German capital and welcome to the show. Automobile lovers will be happy to learn that after 4 years of renovations, one of the world's largest car museums in Turin, Italy, is once again open to the public. Swiss designer François Confinaud came up with all the new interiors and promised he would tell the old story of the birth of the motor car in a new and exciting way. We were lucky enough to be shown round by the man himself.
The Museo Nazionale dell'Automobile di Torino. Lots is happening inside this museum. François Confinaud, one of the world's most important exhibition designers, is sizing things up. In Italy's car-making capital, Turin, he's created humorous oddball displays for 150 of the museum's valuable exhibition pieces.
I wanted them to become again alive. We use the car as a medium to tell the story of the 20th century. And this is a way to tell many, many stories. The cars must tell stories.
For François Confinaud, the history of the automobile begins as early as 1793 with this horse-drawn carriage turned into a motorized vehicle by adding a steam engine.
There was this horse carriage that was transformed into a steam machine, and you see, wow, they become ghosts. They disappear, and suddenly now he drives a steam engine instead of a horse carriage.
A colorful multimedia show presents all the cars in the context of their time. The E-Type Jaguar is a 60s sex symbol. The era Citroën 2V or Deux Chevaux was a hippie icon. And a Cold War Berlin border crossing showcases the Trabant.
The Trabant is a very symbolic car for what it happened when the wall came down and suddenly all these little cars went into Berlin West with blue smoke and on the other side attracting the people from Berlin East, a wonderful red Ferrari, the model 400. And it turns on itself, it's like, come to me.
The museum director and his grandchildren test the new interactive exhibition. And everyone's enthusiastic.
The result is fascinating. It's certainly the only automobile museum of this kind in the whole world. I hope we'll welcome 300,000 visitors a year.
Confinaud's goal is to attract 1 million visitors annually. After all, his film museum in Turin drew 600,000 people last year. Whether it's the Aviation Museum in Montreal or the Expo 2000 theme park in Hanover, his projects are crowd pleasers.
Respecting the public and seeing the enjoyment of the public is probably my main goal. And I like people to have fun.
As part of his presentation, François Confinaud turned a few Italian compact cars into kitchen appliances for the exhibition.
I'm just a designer, but sometimes I'm making very crazy things.
With artistic installations, he comments on current developments in transportation.
What's happening here? It's the jungle, Today we have so many instructions, so many restrictions that driving is no longer a pleasure.
Confinaud has a strong sense of irony. He's put some racing cars behind bars, like dangerous animals.
This car is in jail because it went 250 kilometers an hour in a Tuscany village.
At the end of his journey through time, Confinaud juxtaposes the problematic sides of cars with a utopia. Solar-powered cars in a brave new world.
Many people saw the car maybe as an utopian dream, but finally, in the end, it came to reality. So many people today, they dream of another future. I believe a lot in imagination. I mean, this museum also, I think, is sweating with imagination everywhere. And imagination is a necessary power for going ahead in the life.
François Confino narrates his history of the motor car with passion and humor. The revamped Turin Automobile Museum. You don't have to be mad about cars to love it.
Panoramic paintings, that's paintings in the round, were first of all very popular in the 19th century. Of course, nowadays, with the help of computer technology, panoramas can be much more spectacular. The Berlin artist Yadegar Asisi is famous for his 360-degree panoramas. He's currently working on a mammoth project here in Berlin at the Pergamon Museum, a picture he hopes will transport you back to ancient Greece.
Yadegar Asisi is battling with the gods and titans. His drawings are reconstructing the fragmented remains of the Pergamon frieze as part of his panorama picture of the ancient city. He's been working on this one aspect alone for more than a year.
You need motivation to work on a project like this, otherwise you can't do it. You need a basic idea, a driving force to do it.
The frieze is only a fraction of the picture. Yadegar Asisi is not only reconstructing the embellishment on the Pergamon altar, he's virtually resurrecting the entire ancient metropolis. A computer helps him compose the gigantic panoramic picture, as yet unfinished. He's bringing Pergamon back to life from photos, 3D animations and drawings.
Panoramas are almost unbelievable for those who haven't seen any. They create a life-size impression. When you leave, you don't feel like you are looking at a picture. You feel as if you traveled back to the year 129 and were actually on the Pergamon Hill. That's the phenomenon. It's three-dimensional and feels very real.
2 years ago in Leipzig, Yadegar Asisi completed Amazonia, his fourth panorama picture of that scale. At 106 meters long and 30 meters high, it was the largest in the world. For 15 years now, supersized panoramas have been his passion. Over the years, he's also developed a special production process. 40 panels of fabric are printed and then sewn together in a rented hall over the course of 6 weeks. Yadegar Asisi has probed dimensions that no other panorama artist has. The production phase is an exciting time for him. He can examine his work in the original size only after it has been printed. The logistics involved in hanging up the picture are a challenge. The fabric weighs more than half a ton.
We feel space only when we stay still and hail it. We understand it when we're still. Movement is not important to sense it. I think panoramas give us that peace, and the viewer becomes the master of his view, his perception. Unlike a movie scene where we have to see things at a set speed, you can stay in a panorama for 5 minutes or an hour. But you leave with a spatial impression. And for a constellation like this, of objects put in context, panorama is an ideal medium.
The new panorama is due to be exhibited here in a few months. A rotunda is being constructed at Berlin's Pergamon Museum specially for the purpose. Yadegar Asisi wants to put archaeological finds such as the Pergamon altar back in their original context. But many parts were never found, so Asisi has to get creative. And for that, he's working closely with the museum's antiquities collection researchers.
I came here first as a child and later at least 100 times with my students. We did a lot of drawings together. But it wasn't until now, after being so involved, that I really understand things. I believe that people who see the panorama and the exhibition together will discover things that they perhaps can't even begin to comprehend yet. I'm becoming more aware of this all the time. I see these things to be more complex now. I see things now that I didn't before.
Today, only the ruins of Pergamon remain. Last year, Asisi took more than 30,000 photos for his panorama of the ancient city in what is now Turkey. He used 70 extras in his shots. And he took his pictures from a single position, the one from which visitors will look upon the ancient Pergamon.
From the ground, a 15-meter-high horizon in a picture looks like a picture hanging around us. It's imposing because of its size. But the moment you move towards the horizon line, its three-dimensionality unfolds. So the storyline has to be calculated from the viewer's perspective.
Today's picture of Pergamon is a collage of drawings, 3D animations and photos, which together portray an everyday scene from the city in the 1st century.
If you watch me work, you'd think that I'm drawing the whole time. For me, it's all painting, just with different media.
From September on, Yadegar Asisi's rendering of life in ancient Pergamon will be on display in Berlin.
Looking forward to that. That's definitely on my list of things to visit. The practice of consuming mainly uncooked and unprocessed foods is becoming more popular. Here in Germany, even vegetarians used to be few and far between, but that has changed dramatically. Now, the idea of eating mainly raw foods is a big step towards healthier eating. And it doesn't have to be dull, as you're about to see.
Lasagna and pumpkin risotto. Chocolate cake with black currants. And kohlrabi ravioli with pizza crackers. Made without animal products, they're vegan and raw. La haute crue, or raw gourmet food, is the latest trend, and Boris Lauser shows us how it's done. He's a raw gourmet chef out of personal conviction.
The salad bars that popped up 2 decades ago where bundles of carrots were mixed together with a few chickpeas and some salad dressing were your typical idea of raw vegetables. Not very attractive. Raw gourmet food adds some fun and pleasure to things.
Boris invites guests to enjoy a raw gourmet dinner in his loft in Berlin. Here, even the aperitif is unusual. Pear and lavender prosecco. Boris can accommodate up to 10 guests. A 4-course meal starts at 45 euros. For many, it's their first taste of gourmet vegetarian cuisine.
Very tasty. You're not really even conscious of the fact that you're eating only raw vegetables. It's simply delicious.
It takes several hours of preparation to turn an old favorite like lasagna into something new. It's made with traditional tomato sauce. But the cheese is replaced by a sauce made from soaked cashew nuts, rolled oats, and garlic. Zucchini slices serve as sheets of pasta.
You can imitate the consistency and taste of any dish. It's always the fat and the spices which you put in it which transmit the flavor. So you have to play with the consistency and then try to produce a similar one using the means available to you: vegetables, nuts, and seeds.
The result is healthier but looks just like the real thing, since food should be a treat for the eyes as well as the palate. The lasagna is put in a food dehydrator for 2 hours where it's warmed to no more than 42 degrees Celsius. These days, Boris Lauser's traditional oven merely serves as storage space.
This minimal heating means food preserves all its nutrients, and those nutrients give food its flavor. Flavors are much more intensive in raw foods.
Boris Lauser has been serving his raw gourmet dinners for 2.5 years, and their popularity just keeps growing. Reservations are essential. The Berlin restaurant La Mano Verde caters to a broader clientele. Jean-Christian Jury, who was born in France, is trying to improve the image of vegan cuisine. La Mano Verde is the only vegan establishment recommended in the 2011 edition of Germany's Feinschmecker Restaurant Guide.
30 to 40% of our customers are real vegan. And the rest are just people who want to take care about their health and try something different. Is what I call my flexitarians.
In the new raw gourmet cuisine, everything is possible. From raspberry cheesecake to cannelloni non forno, with zucchini and walnut bolognese. Raw gourmet food is certainly doing its bit to liven up vegetarian cuisine.
Back to Bedlam was the name of his first album back in 2004, and literally overnight it made singer-songwriter James Blunt a star. The young man from England had a soft, romantic voice that caught the imagination, especially of the ladies. Now, 2 albums later, he's touring the world with his third release entitled Some Kind of Trouble. It's a bit more rock and roll, and Euromaxx caught up with him and his band in Nuremberg.
At the start of the show, James Blunt does what he likes best, getting close to his audience.
Tell me the wars you're fighting, behind the smile you're hiding, all of the things I know.
The first song in the concert, So Far Gone, is the current hit from his latest album.
We tried our best to find us, but there are no lights to guide us.
We are a band and a crew, a small army of people on the road, and we're really, really close. And you know, to spend that amount of time in such close proximity, we sleep on the same tour bus. It means that you have to be very close to each other and get on really well with each other.
So I'll just say,
Now 37 and a superstar, Blunt has long been eager to tour again.
if it's for your sake.
But we feel confident because we know what we're doing. We feel we've got strong songs. I've got 3 albums to play, worth of songs to play. I've got a really great, exciting production, and it's translating really well on stage.
So I'll just say what you won't say.
Most of Blunt's concerts in Germany are sold out. 5,500 fans came to Nuremberg alone.
Turning back on what you can't say, we're so far gone.
Although he's known mainly as a solo artist, Blunt sets great store by his band. They've been with him from the beginning, and it's their 3rd world tour together.
For your sake.
It's been a nice musical journey that we've started here, and we've been with James and experienced the whole climb of his success around the world. And we were only saying last night, actually, on the tour bus, that it's quite a unique situation because James is obviously the artist, but he really involves his band. We all get ready in the same dressing room. We're all on the bus together, so it feels like a real band vibe that he's created, and I think that's pretty unique. I don't think there's many artists that tour like that, not nowadays. I think he's kept it real, as they say.
You're beautiful. You're beautiful.
In 2005, the ballad You're Beautiful, about unrequited love, shot Blunt to international fame overnight. His debut album, Back to Bedlam, topped the charts in 18 countries.
When James and I first started playing together, I mean, I used to go and rehearse in his bedroom, and we'd play You're Beautiful on a little Wurlitzer piano. So when we come to places like this and play to thousands of people, I always have that story in the back of my mind, just 2 people in a room playing those songs to the spaces where sometimes we can, you know, at festivals play to tens of thousands. It's amazing to be part of that story.
In his latest album, James Blunt no longer seems so serious and introverted. His music now comes across as more cheerful and relaxed.
My my songs have developed over the years, really. I was a troubadour to begin with, one man and an acoustic guitar with Back to Bedlam. And then with All the Lost Souls, I was a troubadour surrounded by a backing band. And instead now we are just a band and I'm the front man of it. And Some Kind of Trouble, the new album, is upbeat and energetic and full of optimism. It's written much more on the electric guitar, and so yeah, that's really has taken the live show in a more upbeat direction.
James Blunt, one of the most successful singers of the past decade, touring the world for the next 13 months.
I'll be wrapped around your finger.
A complete change of mood now to the painstakingly and patient art of traditional watchmaking. Perhaps the only connection is that maybe James Blunt is one of the few who could afford a Grieb Benzinger watch. They are handcrafted by Herr Grieb and Herr Benzinger themselves, and they only produce a handful of these collector's items every year. Timepieces for the connoisseur.
Grieb and Benzinger's platinum watches don't just look good, they encase history and tradition. Their inner workings date back to between 1880 and 1930 and are refashioned and rebuilt to create dazzling new masterpieces. Hermann Grieb and Jochen Benzinger tracked down old watches from Swiss makers Patek Philippe and Vacheron Constantin to give them a new lease on life. And because virtually nobody manufactured wristwatches in the early 20th century, the old mechanisms that Grieb and Benzinger use come from pocket watches. They're worth up to 40,000 euros apiece.
It was the golden age of watchmaking.
Watches today aren't better. Movements back then were of a much higher quality.
It's hard to imagine how they made the screws in there. The components are so tiny and delicate, the springs were so delicately cut, and they had no wire-cutting machines or computerized machines. It was all cut out and filed by hand. It's astonishing.
Grieb and Benzinger's secret is that they work in the style of old-fashioned watchmakers. Hermann Grieb begins by taking apart the valuable old pocket watches. Because modern watches tend to incorporate many different functions, he then plans which ones to include in his revamp.
Some show hours, seconds, and minutes. Some have a chronograph with a drag pointer and a striking mechanism. And we could add a regulator watch face, a 24-hour display, a moon phase, a date, depending on what the customer wants.
But before they get to that stage, the old pocket watches go to Jochen Benzinger's workshop. He customizes their appearance according to the wishes of the customer. Using the same tools that watchmakers had at their disposal 150 years ago, the plates are engraved, then skeletonized. Around 1,000 hours of work go into a single Grieb and Benzinger original.
We unite 3, or actually 4, craftsmen's techniques. First, we have the watchmaker who is familiar with old watch mechanisms. Not someone who just repairs a quartz watch, but who can really make parts. We reconstruct the watch, and then we do needlepoint etching by hand, which, like hand engraving and hand skeletonizing, is no longer something you can officially train to do. We more or less unite those 3 professions and put them all into the mechanism.
Jochen Benzinger is proud of the fact that his workshop is home to more needlepoint etching machines than any other. He uses them to score patterns into the plates, just as his counterparts did back in 1880.
In using old techniques like needlepoint etching, engraving, and skeletonizing by hand, techniques which were considered advanced back then, we do the clockwork justice. We're not making them worse, and I think Patek Philippe or Breguet might even be proud to see how we've altered their watches.
Once they're finished, the Grieb Benzinger masterpieces are put into platinum cases. Most of their customers are in Asia, Russia, and the US.
I hope that people who buy the watches actually wear them and have fun with them. And that when they put them on, they say, "I've bought something beautiful. I have an original." I assume that customers do not own just this watch, but they have several, and that they say, "Now I'm going to buy myself a Grieb Benzinger."
Grieb Benzinger can only make 10 of their original watches a year. And even though a finished article can cost up to 400,000 euros, it would be a shame to lock it up in a safe, not least because each one of them contains a long tradition of watchmaking.
If you want to see more Euromaxx reports, go to dw-world.de/English/Euromaxx highlights, and the choice is yours. That's all for now, though, so until next time, bye-bye.